Greetings gamers, this is Raz from Crush on Pixels, and it's time for my weekly video! From the last few weeks, if you watched the previous rants, it was mostly about Guild Wars and controllers. Well, this video is sort of going to be a spin-off. I'm going to talk about the MMOs. Because playing Guild Wars, I started thinking about my past in MMOs, and I sort of got a nostalgic feeling in some ways. But when I started thinking further back, I realized that I'm not really an MMO guy. I don't really like MMOs, specifically the ones that try to rip off World of Warcraft, or not rip off, but are based on the same basic thing. That's because I hate grinding. I really, really hate grinding. So every game that has sort of tried to do the MMO thing with like World of Warcraft have sort of failed in my eyes. They haven't really done anything different, and they all were just about the most boring thing in the world: grinding. I was so bored playing all of them. I've played quite a few of them, actually. In fact, I've played most of the really big MMOs that you can think of from the past few years. I kept thinking about what stood out, and I realized that there were actually some MMOs that really stuck to me, that were really stood out, and that were sort of games that I played a lot. I tried World of Warcraft. That didn't work out. I didn't really enjoy it that much. I played it a little bit, but then I was like, why am I doing this? There was no tangible goal. That was the big problem. That's sort of a problem that Guild Wars 2 has looked at and tried to do something with, and they did a pretty good job, I have to say. They gave you tangible goals all the time, but you know, playing something like World of Warcraft, you just don't feel it at all. It's like, what am I fighting for? What is this? So I looked at some of the games that stood out, and I realized that there were mostly just 3 games, including Guild Wars 2. The other 2 are the ones I'm going to talk about in this video. So one of the titles that I liked in the MMO genre was actually Star Wars: The Old Republic. I liked that game. I had a lot of fun with it, but it's just nowhere near as fun and versatile as Guild Wars 2. My highest level character actually only got to about level 24, 25 or something like that. My other character 12, 14, not much bigger than that, and that's about it. That's all I achieved with it before the repetitiveness came in, and I really appreciated what BioWare did with the story. I mean, just the sheer amount of dialogue and stuff that happened story-wise that got presented with actual cutscenes is astounding. It's an MMO. The MMOs are huge games. That they included that in an MMO is very impressive, and it does lift up the game to a certain level. But then the sort of repetitive thing gets in the way. Now, as far as I understand it, there are some classes that have better stories, that are sort of like the ones you should play just because of the story, while other ones weren't quite as interesting. I played the Jedi Sage. That was my main character, and the story was alright. I mean, it was nothing really big happened in it. At first it was sort of like savior mentor kind of thing, but then it changed to save the world, and then it sort of felt like, yeah, you know, I lost interest in it. But nevertheless, it was a fun game while it lasted, while I played it. Playing Flashpoints was probably the best part. It's just that many of the Flashpoints weren't developed enough. There weren't big cutscenes with characters and stuff. They were mainly just do the quest and that's it. I wish all of them were the bigger ones. I wish every Flashpoint had cutscenes with characters and all that stuff. That would have lifted the game up quite a bit. But like I said, it was impressive nevertheless. I'm going to play more of it eventually, but for now, it's just I want to play Guild Wars more. You know, it's a lot more fun to play Guild Wars. As much respect as the Star Wars game has from me, I can't really just put everything into it. Ultimately, though, Star Wars: The Old Republic failed to live up to expectations simply because it had the same repetitive and stale gameplay after a while, just like World of Warcraft and all its clones. So the other game that sort of is one of my favorite MMOs. I mean, I think it's right up there with Guild Wars 2. I'm not really sure which I would say is better. I'd have to go with Guild Wars 2 more of from a technical and design perspective than anything else. But the game I'm talking about is Ragnarok Online. Now that game brings back memories. It's a nostalgic game for me. Every time I see it, it's like, oh, I remember that game from when I was blah 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 that age, and I played it and I had fun with my friends. See, I played that game back when it was sort of popular. It had lots of players in it. Whenever you came in, you saw people in groups or anything in just hanging out or something like that. You saw people actively playing in areas that weren't for the max level. Because later, in its last years, in its final years, sort of before it started dying out completely, it was mostly new players weren't coming in, so you didn't see many, noobs going into lower level areas. It was mostly big shots who've played the game for a while, tanking themselves or their friends in higher level areas. But when I was still playing it, it was me and it was a few more noobs who've never played the game before. We were like, hey, let's play together. We're all noobs. Let's have fun. And we grouped up and we went to what was for us a high level area, but it was actually a joke when you get to certain levels higher. And it was just this great cooperative thing. It was social. It was fun. And out of everything that I've taken away from Ragnarok Online over the years, it's one memory, one basic gameplay design choice or perspective that really stood out and made that game so incredibly memorable. And that is sitting in groups. I know that sounds weird. I'm going to explain in a second. First of all, if you haven't seen Ragnarok Online, you should be able to see it on screen now. It's an isometric game. You watch from the top down, and it has a grid view. The map is basically boxes, one box after the other. A character occupies one box, and then another character can sit in the box next to him. It doesn't look like a box. It has an art style and all that, but if you sort of dig deeper and you move your mouse around, you realize it's a grid. When I first started the game, I played it, and I came to one of the main cities, which was Prontera. Just outside the gate of Prontera, I noticed people were sitting in groups. People were just sitting outside the entrance. Now, this area was an area where monsters would show up, although this was the lowest level monsters, and they were all I think all of them were friendly unless someone summoned an evil one. But I just noticed people were sitting there. They were just sitting in each of their little boxes on the grid, and it was so easy to just walk up, sit next to someone, press a button on your keyboard, and your character would do this little wave icon thing, and suddenly you had friends. I have never seen anything like that in any other MMO. Playing even Guild Wars, it's awkward walking up to someone sitting next to them and waving or something. They'll just run away. No game enforces the feeling of let's just sit down and hang out. I wish more games would sort of value the principle of just hanging out, not just for playing the game, not just for progressing the story or leveling up, but for just being friends and talking for a second. Because one of the things that I took away from it was actually friends. In no other MMO did I meet people and then sort of continue meeting them outside of the game, but I did with Ragnarok Online. I met people on Ragnarok Online who became my friends in other chat software and stuff like that. I didn't even get to, like in the game, you can get to level 100 and then you can transcend, and then you can get to level 100 again, although more powerful since you transcended. I never even got to the first 100. I seriously, none of my highest level character is like level 90, I think. I never got to level 100 mainly because I didn't actually play the game that much. I did obviously play it since I got to level 90, but I didn't actually finish the game or anything like that. I mostly just came to the game to hang out with people. I came there to be social. I came there to just show up in an area where there were a lot of people, sit next to someone who was sitting, and just start talking. You know, have fun, be social. No other game has offered me something like that, and I value those memories. And if you haven't tried it, I can strongly advise you to go check it out. Since you're a new guy, if you haven't played it before, if you're a new guy, try it out, play it. Meet up with people who are at the same stage as you are to sort of explore the world together and take on monsters. It's a lot of fun. And then there's Guild Wars 2. Ah, yes, Guild Wars 2. As much as I love and admire and cherish the memories of Ragnarok Online, Guild Wars 2 really is a step above, because it does something so profoundly different from all the other MMOs, even the ones that promised that they would do different and didn't by the end. Guild Wars 2 really delivered, because it gives you tangible goals, something that other MMOs just don't have, and which makes them feel so repetitive. And it's a trap that even the Star Wars game fell for. But Guild Wars 2 gives you a sense of exploration, a sense of self-importance because you feel important to the world, and tangible goals that you can strive to achieve in a shorter period of time, so that the only focus isn't just to reach the highest level, but to actually play the game and have fun, and then just by playing the game you will get to the highest level. It's a beautiful thing. So there you have it. My favorite MMO games of all time. Guild Wars 2, Ragnarok Online, and to a certain extent, even Star Wars The Old Republic. Despite its flaws, it was fun. And I hope that the games to come look at what Guild Wars 2 have done and see what the special parts are of other past games like Ragnarok Online. I want to see more games that just encourages sitting around, having fun together in an area, just talking, not fighting monsters, just hanging out, you know? I hope that the games try to innovate, not just copy Guild Wars 2 or World of Warcraft or Ragnarok Online, but try to do something different as well. Because MMOs are usually RPG. They don't have to be, you know. You can include other elements that aren't specific to RPGs, and I just hope that they just look at the industry and try to see what really pays off in doing. Copying what worked before, I don't think it's going to hold. It's going to die out, and it is slowly dying out. And I hope that they see that that's happening, and they need to change in order to make it continue to work. So yeah, those were my memories. I hope you have some great memories as well. If you do, please leave them in the comments below. I would love to read them and see what you remember about MMOs of the past and current generation. And if you have anything else to say, also leave them in the comments or send me a message. But most of all, remember to like the video if you liked what you saw and heard here, and subscribe to our channel because we have more videos coming. We do Let's Plays and a bunch of stuff, and I hope you enjoyed this video. Stay tuned for next time. I'm Raz from Crush on Pixels. I'm gonna go play a little bit of Darksiders 2. See you next time. I hope that was funny.